Welcome to the Straight to Jail podcast, written and produced by Brian Herring. Chapter 14, The Lockbox. The alley behind the Velvet Den was slick with rain, the pavement reflecting the dull glow of the club's neon sign. Johnny, Kyle, and Tony moved quickly through the shadows, their footsteps echoing softly off the brick walls. Tony held the stolen lockbox like it was a football he'd just run across the goal line, his grin still annoyingly wide.
You know,
Tony muttered as they hustled toward Johnny's parked car.
I gotta say, Kyle's bullshit might actually be useful sometimes. I thought you two planned that little stunt back there.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny growled, his voice dripping with sarcasm.
Because I love nearly getting tossed into East River by a bunch of pissed-off goons.
Kyle, trailing behind them with a smug look, slid his sunglasses back onto his face despite the pitch-dark alley.
Relax, boys. Nobody suspects the loud, drunk idiot. Unless they catch him, and they didn't. So, you're welcome.
Johnny stopped mid-step and turned, his face deadpan as he glared at Kyle.
If you keep up with that loudmouth routine, I'll personally make sure you never open your mouth again. You almost ruined us back there.
Kyle shrugged, unbothered.
Almost doesn't count, Johnny boy. We got what we needed, didn't we?
He's got a point.
Tony chimed in, panting slightly as he clutched the lockbox.
Now, can we stop arguing and get out of here before someone figures out what happened?
Johnny pinched the bridge of his nose, muttering under his breath before waving them toward the car.
Let's go.
The safe house was a cheap motel room on the outskirts of town, the kind of place where nobody looked too long at the guests coming and going. Johnny parked out back, and the trio slipped inside through the fire escape door. The room smelled like mildew and stale cigarettes, but it would do for now. Johnny flicked on the light, locking the door behind them.
All right, let's see what we're working with.
Tony dropped the lockbox onto the rickety wooden table in the center of the room with a loud thud and grinned.
I feel like Indiana Jones, but street level. You think it's full of gold bars, or we talking stacks of dirty cash? Maybe some diamonds or a kilo of blow if we're real lucky.
Kyle collapsed onto the bed, kicking off his shoes.
If it's full of blow, then I get a cut. Call it hazard pay for making myself a damn distraction while you two played grab the box.
Hazard pay?
Johnny shot him a look.
You were the hazard.
Kyle smirked, unbothered.
Semantics.
Johnny ignored him and focused on the lockbox. It was heavy and reinforced, the kind of thing you'd expect to find in the back office of a drug dealer or a dirty accountant. He grabbed a crowbar from his bag, wedging it under the edge. With a grunt, he pried it open, the latch snapping with a metallic crack. The trio leaned in, eyes fixed on the contents. Inside was a stack of neatly organized documents, a burner phone, and a USB drive. Kyle groaned.
That's it? I was expecting bricks of cash, maybe some diamonds. This is some real anticlimactic shit, Johnny.
Shut up,
Johnny said, grabbing the papers and flipping through them. His brow furrowed as he read.
These are ledgers, transactions, payments, dates, locations. This is everything. Whoever's running this operation kept records of all of it.
Tony whistled, leaning over Johnny's shoulder.
Somebody's sloppy. You don't keep receipts when you're laundering millions, unless you're a cocky asshole.
Or paranoid.
Johnny added.
This isn't just about money. Look here.
He held up a page showing names and aliases, some of which were circled.
Here's the people you're telling us were tied into this. Politicians, cops, suppliers. If this gets out, half the city will come crashing down.
Kyle sat up, suddenly more interested.
You're telling me we just walked out of that club holding the skeleton key to the entire operation? No wonder they had a small army watching that guy.
Johnny nodded grimly, placing the documents on the table.
We've got our leverage now. This is the kind of ammo that can make people talk, or put a bullet in us if we're not careful.
Tony picked up the burner phone, flipping it open. It lit up immediately.
Well, looks like it's already set up. It's got all of the players on contact, text messages, and a straight line to the boss.
He smirked and held it toward Johnny.
Want to give him a call, see how his night's going?
Put that down before I slap it out of your hands.
Johnny snapped, his tone sharp. Tony dropped the phone back into the box, though his grin didn't waver.
Relax, I ain't stupid. Just saying, We're holding a nuclear bomb here, and somebody's gonna come looking for it real soon.
Kyle swung his legs off the bed, his expression serious for once.
So what's the play, Johnny? We can't just sit here hugging this box and waiting for the bad guys to come knocking. We hit them first, or what?
Johnny stared at the documents spread across the table, his jaw tight. He'd known this was dangerous, but now it felt like the ground under their feet was shaking. This wasn't just about Kyle's revenge or cleaning up his own mess anymore. This was bigger, like Tony had said in the beginning. Too big. Johnny's gaze looked up at the two men. Tony was still leaning casually against the wall, but his eyes were sharp, reading Johnny like a book. Kyle, surprisingly serious, was waiting for orders.
We move fast.
Johnny finally said.
We find out who's at the top of this food chain, and we cut the head off the snake before they realize we've got the knife. But we need a plan. We can't rush this.
A plan? You mean like Kyle yelling about gin and tonic while I grab the box?
It worked, didn't it?
Kyle shot back. Johnny groaned, rubbing his temple.
Ah, fuck, I'm surrounded by idiots.
Tony shrugged.
Maybe, but we're your idiots. So what's the first step, boss?
Johnny looked at the USB drive sitting next to the papers. He picked it up and turned it over in his hand.
We find out what's on this drive. Then we use it to burn everything they've built to the ground.
Kyle cracked his knuckles, grinning.
Now you're speaking my language.
Johnny leaned back, his eyes narrowing as he stared at the door. They weren't safe here for long. Whatever was on that drive, whoever was on those ledgers, they were running out of time to stay ahead of it. Let the bastards come, Johnny thought.
We'll be ready.